If I wanted to kickstart an indie author career, this is exactly how I would do it. I would use the 100-day author roadmap to make sure that I got my first book out within a year, and preferably as fast as possible, but not so fast that it won't be good enough. And here is a breakdown that I've made, looking at other famous authors and indie authors and see how they work in a way so that they can actually start making money off of their writing fairly fast. If you want to have an indie author career and want to make money off it, maybe your dream is to not work full time anymore or something like that. It is important that you have a plan, because writing can take up so much time and so much effort. Believe me, I've been there too. I spent probably 10 years writing my debut novel, which is a novella. It's quite short, and the thing is, I was like never ever. I didn't know which way I wanted to go. I didn't know if I wanted to go trad or indie, but also I wasn't sure if it was good enough. And I kept hesitating and doubting, and I didn't have a plan, which meant that it took forever. Now I write consistently, I write regularly, and I write fast, and I know myself, and I have a plan. And that is what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I wanted to share this framework so that you can kickstart your author career. The 100-day roadmap is based on industry best practices of independent authors. And if you're new here, hello, my name is Natalie. I'm an author and a growth marketer, and I help writers accelerate their author career and reach more readers with smart marketing. And on this channel, I will share my author journey myself and the best practices that I learn along the way. I will also share mistakes that I make so that you don't have to make them yourself. And the first part is phase 1, which is day 1 until 10. And this is the part where you want to plan what you're going to do the next couple of days, like 100 days. It's very, very important that you don't skip this phase. You need to define what your goals are. You need to do market research. You need to make sure that you know which kind of genre you're writing. Are there any genre expectations on the genre? Do you want to go in KU or do you want to go wide? Which way is the best for that genre? And why do you want to do the things you want to do? And depending on what you choose, you also need to look at your competitors. Are the books in KU, maybe they're only 60,000 words long, and the ones that are going wide are 90,000 words long. This is really important for you to know so that you can know where to position yourself, but also where you if there's anywhere you want to differentiate. Maybe you see that there is a gap within sports romance, but not that many people are writing these shorter fiction versions, and maybe they will fit super well into KU because there is a demand for them and not that many people are writing it so far. If that is what you find out, then great, but you need to do the research, outline it, outline the characters, outline every single plot point. Do as good a work preparing yourself for the writing as you can during these 10 days, as well during the time that you're also doing research, so that you make sure that your book is something that the readers want and the readers will look forward to. And this is also a perfect opportunity for you to map out a timeline. You need to plan how much you're going to write each and every single day, or if you're just going to write during the weekends, how much time do you need to be able to achieve the goal that you have? Because if you're committed to doing this in 100 days, this means that this will be a real push, and it will be hard, I know, but it will also be doable. So but you need to commit to it fully, and you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan for saying no to people when they want to do fun stuff, because you need to have time to write. And if you're not done writing for the day, then you will have to say no. And like planning all these big and little things now in advance is something that you will thank yourself for later. So make sure that everything is as planned as it can be, that you've done your research, and that you know where you're heading. And like, depending on where you are in your author journey, this will be easier or this will be harder. I have been writing some, for a really long time. I know that I write around 1,000 words per hour when I'm writing in rough drafts. And if you don't know how fast you're writing, then maybe your goal shouldn't be like how many hours you write each and every single week. Maybe it should be how many words, because you will learn in time what your process is. And this is a great way to like stress test it and to, learn more about your writing process. So yep, that is the first phase of the 100-day challenge. And like, try not to let it take too long. Let it only take these 10 days, and then whether or not you feel ready, you're done. Phase 1 is done. Now you need to move on. Like, because when you're doing this challenge, you have to think of your writing as a job. And when it comes to a job, like, you just need to get the things done, whether or not you feel like it's perfect or not. You need to move on to the next task, because otherwise, your bills won't get paid. And like, try to think of it like that, and don't let your inner perfectionist stop you. So now it's time for phase number 2. Phase 2 goes on from day 11 to day 50. And this is the phase where you start writing. You need to write as much as possible. I would say somewhere between 500-700 words a day to 1,000 words a day, probably. Maybe even more, depending on how long your book is going to be. But I mean, this is not a great challenge for if you're writing an epic fantasy with 200,000 words, then 100 days will be too short, I'm sure. But maybe not. I don't know who you are. But write as much as possible. And here it's so important that you embrace the good and the bad. There will be days when it's super hard to write. There will be days when you feel like your writing is awful and you just want to delete everything you've written up to that point. Don't do that. Think of this like NaNoWriMo. During NaNoWriMo, you just sprint, you just keep moving forward, you don't look back, and most importantly, you do not edit. This is not the phase where you go back and start fixing things. If there's something wrong at the beginning of the manuscript where you realize it halfway through, then just make a note about it and go back to that later. Don't go back and start editing right now or changing stuff. You can even rewrite the scenes you want to fix. That's fine. But don't go back. Keep moving forward, because you need the momentum to be able to finish your rough drafts fast. And during this time also, you could start, I mean, if you feel like you can manage, I would prefer that you start, building an email list. Open up and talk about the fact that you're writing a book, that it's launching fairly soon, and start collecting leads, people who are interested. Maybe they're interested in, maybe they will become your ARC readers, maybe they will be the first people who will read the book. You don't know, but it's important already right now to start doing that. So this is the build-up phase, and share the journey with these people who are in your newsletter. I don't think you should post on social media each and every single day unless that is something that gives you energy. Right now, your focus should be on writing and building the things that are like long term, which is email lists. And if that's too much right now, then just focus on the writing. And also remember to embrace the fact that the first draft will be bad. That is fine. You're writing the first draft for you so that you know the story. And it's during the editing phase that it will become perfect. You will make it good again. So write as much as you can, and enjoy the journey. And once you're doubting yourself, just remind yourself that this is a job, and you don't have to like your job each and every single day. You just have to show up and keep moving forward, because there will be other days when you feel like this is the best thing you've ever written. So hold on and keep pushing through. Now we're at phase 3. This is the editing and production phase. And first of all, congratulations, you made it really far. Now it's time for, if depending on where you are in your timeline now, if you can, it would be preferable for you to let the manuscript rest a day or two. I mean, the ideal situation is to let it rest for a few weeks, but we don't have time for that because now we're doing the 100-day challenge. But the first thing that I like to do when I have a new manuscript is to actually read it through. I will usually put it in my iPad or on my Kindle, and then I'll read it through as if I'm a reader. And if there are big things, like maybe I'll just mark up the text, but I won't go in and do like super hardcore editing. I'll just read it to get an idea what the story feels like for a reader. And this is a great way for you to get some distance to your manuscript, because usually, for me at least, when I write, I have these vivid pictures in my mind of like what the setting is like, what it feels like, and everything, what the characters look like. Which means that sometimes I actually get to describe that in the book, because it's so clear in my mind. So when I read through, I will see this like, okay, wait, here I need to add more description. Here I need to add a little bit of sensory feelings or whatever it is. So that's a great thing to notice when you read it through like a reader. And once you've done that, my recommendations for self-editing is to have one go where you go through all the big things. Go through the plot points, make sure that all the big beats are there and that they're in the right place, that the story has a good pacing, it's suspenseful enough. It will keep the reader intrigued. Because if you don't have that, then the reader won't stick around to the end. So it's very, very important that you have that. And until that is done, don't care about, line editing or grammar or whatever. Maybe there was a mistake. You changed the name of some character on page 53. Doesn't matter. You need to have the big beats there first, because chances are otherwise that you will have, you will delete a chapter, and maybe you've spent hours on like line editing that, and all of that went to waste. So I never focus on grammar or stuff like that until the very end of my self-editing. So first focus on the big beats when you're doing these editing rounds, and then break it down and look at other things. So first plot points, big picture, see that the drama is there. Then I usually go in and look at the characters, the main characters. Is the character arc good enough? Are the characters, do they talk in a different way? This is something I try to do, like a trick if you want to see if your characters have a unique voice when they're speaking, is to actually take away the gosh, I don't know what it's called in English. But at the end of the sentence, like when someone is speaking, when you say said Greg, if you take away like the name tags, then and you can still see who is saying what, then you have characters who are really speaking in a unique voice. But sometimes, especially like after the first draft, a lot of characters tend to talk the same. So have a look at that and put some extra focus into that, because I think that the way a character speaks says so much about them. It tells us about their background, their history, who they want to be also, because sometimes the character will change the way they talk only to try and fit in within a certain kind of gang and like a certain kind of people. And maybe they're like doing it a little bit wrong so that it shines through. There's so much that you can do with dialogue. So I think that it deserves its own like editing round, at least if you ask me. So yes. And then I think I will have one round where I try to focus a bit on like sensory stuff, making sure that I'm not only using vision, so that I will also add, smell, taste, and hearing, so that the reader will feel really immersed in the story. I think that's a great way to use all the five senses to when you're trying to build up a world that they will feel engaged with. And when I've edited the manuscript as much as I can, when I feel like, okay, now I've gone through it a few times, I'm stuck, I can't do anything more, this is as good as I can make it on my own, then it's time to send away the manuscript to a professional editor. And we talked a bit in the beginning, like now I'm gonna, like during phase number 1, you did all the planning. And during this phase, you probably figured out that somewhere around on day, I don't know, on day 60, I will be done with editing. Now I'm just throwing out a number here. But on this day, I will be done with editing. So since you've already planned this quite a few days ago, I hope that you will have actually booked an editor, because usually you have to book them in advance, of course, because a lot of them are very busy. So now it's time for you to send your manuscript to a professional editor. And I think that if you can afford it, this is one of the keys. Like, it's really important that you do this, because you do need someone else to give you feedback on your manuscript. You will be too blind by your own story, by your own text, and you can't see it in a neutral way, unfortunately. So send it to your editor. And if you're like at the beginning of your indie author journey, maybe you can't afford a professional editor right now, then find real good beta readers. Beta readers that you can switch manuscripts with and give them professional feedback in return. But tell them that tell them what you're expecting, tell them what you need, and tell them what kind of feedback. And if you have writing friends that can do that for you, or beta readers that can do that for you, that is an alternative that is cheaper. Probably not as good, because they don't have the, experience and stuff like that, but it is something. I do need to emphasize the fact that you need to have someone external looking at your text. You need that for it to become as good as it can be. So send it to the editor, and while you're doing this, you can actually start thinking, like while you're waiting for your manuscript, you can start writing the blurb of your story, because writing the blurb is like an art in itself. Oh my god, it's so, like, the blurb and the cover is what will sell the book through and through. So this is really important that you also get it right, and it can take some time, so work on that while you're waiting for the manuscript to come back to you. And also maybe, you have already booked the cover design, so maybe you've gotten the cover back already. This is perfect. Now you can start planning the marketing events and stuff like that whilst you're waiting for your manuscript to come back. And when you have your manuscripts back from the editor, it's time for the final rounds of editing. This is when you do all the fine-tuning of your story. You make sure that the story is as good as it can be. Then you start doing the line edits, and then you start doing the grammar. And after that, you send it off to the proofreader. Depending on who you are and what you want, you can have different kinds of editors and stuff like that. I'm not going to go in and go through all of those. That's completely up to you, what you feel like you can afford and what you feel like you need. But once your story is done and you've gone through all of these stages, it's time to start formatting. Now we're almost at the end. Now we almost have a complete manuscript. So I use vellum when I format my my stories, both for the print editions and the ebook editions. This means that it's fairly easy for me to do the formatting, but you don't have to buy vellum to do formatting. You can do it yourself within Microsoft Word, for example. And I don't know, but I'm sure that there are online programs that you can use to convert an ebook as well. So do the formatting, do the final touches, put your book together, order a proof copy. But before we're done, you need to make sure that you have all the metadata ready for the book. Because when you upload it into Amazon KDP, you need to have all the like keywords ready. You need to have a hook. You need to have thought about the keywords you put in the description and in your title. You need to make sure that your book is meeting the genre expectations again, and that it's thrilling enough so that people will buy it. And last but not least, we're in phase number 4. So phase 4 is roughly around day 80 to day 100. And this is the launch and marketing part of the journey. This is where you will collect your ARC team, send out your book to the ARC readers so that they can read it and start building buzz. I think that getting early reviews is super duper important for you to actually get more people to buy your book in the long run, because there are so many books out there that we want to read or that seems interesting, that seeing someone else that has already loved the book, that social proof will actually get a lot more readers to want to buy it. So make sure that you have an ARC team. Maybe this is the ARC team from when you started setting up your email list in phase 2. But send out the book to your ARC team and make sure that they're activated and that they're reading the book and that they're hyping it up as much as possible. This is also the part when you set up your book for pre-orders on all the platforms. I try to make sure that my book is up on Amazon around a month before the launch. That way Amazon can push it out to potential readers that can pre-order the book. And I always try to do that. During this time, I also love to have a Goodreads giveaway going, because that way, so that the giveaway ends before the launch date of the book. This way, people, there will be everyone who signs up for the Goodreads giveaway. I usually do them, since I live in Sweden. I can't do physical giveaways, unfortunately. Costs way too much for me to send a physical copy across the world, but I always do the ebook giveaways, 100 ebooks. And the thing is that people who sign up for the Goodreads giveaway, everyone who does that, even if they don't win the book, they will have the book on their want to read list on Goodreads. And this is perfect because, everyone that their friends will see the book in their on their Goodreads, because their friend has it as a want to read. So the people who don't win the Goodreads giveaway, they will also get a notification on the release date. And the people who win the Goodreads giveaway, they will get a notification from Goodreads after, I don't know how many weeks, but after I think 3 weeks, reminding them to leave a review of the book. So it's a really good system to get more reviews in, to get a little bit more buzz out about your book. During this phase, it's also really important that you start hyping up your book on social media, do a cover reveal, and and share the different things about your book, but also share the fact that the book is coming out soon and that people can pre-order it. I plan to do next time I release a book. This time I didn't have time, but next time I release a book, I am going to have also a physical pre-order set up so that people who want a physical copy, signed copy, at least in Sweden, can order it directly from me for my next launch, because that would be so much fun, just sending out the packages to everyone with like small giveaways and stuff like that. So that is something I plan to do next time. And if possible, you should do this too, because it's so much fun when people are opening the packages and they will tag you on social media, and it's good PR for you. And I guess that's it. That's the 100-ish the author indie author plan launch. And like, some of the key takeaways is actually don't rush it, which is contradictory to what I've just said, isn't it? But you could take this strategy and you could pull it out and do it during a year instead, if that fits your timeline better. Like, it doesn't have to be 100 days, but as you can tell when I talk about it, there is a lot you have to do, and there's like you always need to think a few steps ahead to be able to create a good momentum and do it in the long term. And I think that, yeah, if you want to publish a lot of books and have a successful author career, you need to start thinking about it a lot more like a business. I learned a lot from the Indie Author Survey 2025. I will link the video where I talked about it, but there, like, you could really see this, that it's the people with a plan that actually makes money with writing. And this is why I think that you should have one too. And another key takeaway that I don't think I mentioned is what you should focus on. Try to spend 80% of your time actually writing or working on your manuscript, and the rest of the 20% you can do marketing stuff and stuff like that. Not the other way around. You need to focus a lot more on writing and building your backlist until like the marketing will actually be worth it. So remember that, and good luck on your author journey.